Bitcoin price is crashing, folks. Yes, we're going to talk in this video about what exactly is going on with Bitcoin here, what I see transpiring with Bitcoin price, I think kind of how to look at this and things like that. Yeah, if you haven't seen, 42,000 has now been hit on Bitcoin. There's really no signs that this is necessarily going to end right now. There's just a straight downtrend for the last several hours for Bitcoin price. And remember, Bitcoin did top out at about 69,000 roughly in November. So it's down from about 69,000 to about 42,000. And overall in the financial markets today, we know everything was rough. The stock market was obviously very, very rough. Growth stocks got hammered today. And now we see Bitcoin just getting, pretty darn devastated right now. Now, it could be because Goldman Sachs came out and predicted today Bitcoin could hit 100,000. That's just, if you want to talk about jinxing it, man, that's jinxing it right there. Come on, Goldman Sachs, man. Why you got to do that to folks, man? So as far as what Barron's thinks, and we're going to get into my opinion on this. Barron's is saying, Bitcoin tanked after the Fed minutes. And it's pretty obvious that is what happened, because you look at, what happened with the Fed minutes and you look at Bitcoin price and just right after, and like I said, as of right now, we don't even know where the bottom is for Bitcoin and where it will bottom at, because literally it's just continually going down. Bitcoin slid sharply after the Federal Reserve released its minutes for the December meeting, with policymakers indicating growing unease over inflation and the potential for interest rates to start rising as soon as this March. We got a very conflicting data, because then you have, even like different politicians basically saying, hey, man, I think businesses need help. We think businesses need help, potential layoffs and things like that, right? Because of obviously the Rona numbers have gone crazy. A lot of states are kind of, I don't want to call them shut down, but they're not open the way they could be open. And so you have this conflicting stuff going on. You got the market weakening now. You got a lot of worries about earnings for 22, and all of a sudden you're getting into a real messy situation. And Bitcoin obviously is being hammered because of this. This is just one of the reasons, right? Federal officials indicated that inflation readings and tight labor conditions could warrant an interest rate increase sooner or at a faster pace than participants had early anticipated. The minutes from December 14th through 15th meeting, the bank's Monetary Policy Committee also indicated that the Fed may start to pare back its $8.8 trillion balance sheet relatively soon after raising its benchmark federal funds rate. The sell-off in Bitcoin coincided with the sharp downturn in equities, with tech. Obviously, tech got hammered today. If you watch stocks, you know what happened, okay? Bitcoin wasn't the only cryptocurrency falling hard. It's very important to remember. Basically, everything that's crypto related just fell really hard. Ether's obviously off 4.6+%, which now I think it's actually down 6% as of right now. Many other altcoins obviously fell as of this article. Solana was down 6%. I believe it's down more now. Cardano was off 5%. I believe that's off more now. And Terra is down 7%. The sell-off in Bitcoin is another sign that is acting more like a tech stock than inflation fighting store of value or digital gold, as some proponents argue there. Okay, now my personal opinion kind of on this. Let's dive into this. Hope you guys enjoy this as always. Don't forget to subscribe. So in terms of my personal opinion on what's going to happen here with Bitcoin, okay. First off, I think any sort of argument that, anybody ever tries to say like Bitcoin is, like a safe place to put money, or seen as like a gold from the standpoint of holding value or something like that, I don't think that's, I think like people are literally insane that think like that, like literally insane. And the reason being is, if you just watch Bitcoin over the past decade, what you're going to see is when folks are feeling more like taking risk, Bitcoin does amazing, right? And when folks don't want to take risk, Bitcoin struggles. And this is where you get into the situation where you see Bitcoin at 42,000 now. And the reason I have up this thing here is I think this is there's two things that I'm thinking about right now, okay, when in regards to Bitcoin. The first is, this is one of those moments where you're going to find out like who's really in Bitcoin because they truly believe in Bitcoin to their core, and they believe Bitcoin's going to be valued at $100,000 a coin over time, or several hundred thousand or whatever, right? We're going to find out that in this moment over the next, not just, few days, but over the next few weeks and next few months. You're going to find out who's really in this, or who was just in it because it had been going up and everybody talks about Bitcoin. And so it was like, oh, let me buy Bitcoin because I can make some money, right? So we're going to find out like who are the weak hands, who are the ones that are really in this to be in this, and who's not, right? Now, there's a second component I think is very, very important to remember when it comes to Bitcoin. And if you're expecting any sort of, massive rally in Bitcoin price, anything like that, this is very, very key to keep in mind. All right. So Bitcoin used to be viewed as the risky asset. Like if you wanted to make the most money possible in a risky asset, right? You put in Bitcoin, right? And that was the way to make a ton of money and to like get rich the quickest way possible, right? The problem is everything's been falling recently. And so now there's a lot more competitive things out there, right? There's growth stocks out there, which growth stocks, many of these growth stocks are on trajectories to 3x, 5x, 7x, 10x over the next 5 years, right? And some folks don't even feel like Bitcoin could potentially do that over the next 5 years. Then you have the options market, which obviously increases the potential gains big time. So you have some folks say, well, I could put my money in Bitcoin, or I could put my money in a growth stock that's heavily beaten down that could potentially, go 5x or 10x over the coming years, right? Or an options contract that could 20x, 100x, Wall Street bets type stuff, right? So you have that competing for money. You also have a lot of other cryptos competing for money now, right? You have Ethereum, which is something that has just taken off over the last few years in terms of generating true demand. It used to be kind of like Bitcoin, and then like everything else was kind of just like way down there, right? In terms of the cryptocurrency space. Now, a lot of folks, and I talk, Millennial Money, I was just asking Andre and Graham about this. Are you guys more bullish on Ethereum or Bitcoin? And it seems like they're almost more bullish on Ethereum over the coming years than actually Bitcoin, right? And I think if you asked a lot of investors that are in the crypto space, I think a lot of them would say, yeah, I'm more bullish on actually Ethereum than Bitcoin. And that, in the past, that just wasn't a thing, right? And then you have altcoins. Which is like, if you're looking to take a lot more risk, a lot of folks are looking at the altcoin market because they're like, Bitcoin's old news. Bitcoin has, isn't going to get as big of gains. But look at this altcoin over here that has, 20x potential, 50x potential, something like that, right? Then you have the new asset class of NFTs, right? Which has definitely zapped away some folks. Because remember, everybody's got a finite amount of money to put in the market. It doesn't matter if it's the stock market, the crypto market, overall financial markets, whatever, right? Everybody's got a finite amount of money. It doesn't matter how rich or how poor you are. Everybody's got a finite amount of money, right? And so now all of a sudden, some of these folks are saying, why would I buy Bitcoin? I want to buy this NFT over here. And that's where I'm putting my money, right? And so they put their money in an NFT. They buy this NFT, instead of going ahead and buying Bitcoin like they traditionally might have just went ahead and that money might have flowed into Bitcoin, right? And so you get into the kind of this messy situation. And the last component is the fact that you have more individual investors by far and away involved in Bitcoin than ever before, right? We know crypto has just been a hot market over the last couple of years, especially coming out of the Rona crash, right? Remember, Bitcoin prior to Rona crash was under 10,000? So it's not all around possibility that could go back down there, right? So you have a lot of retail investors in that haven't really been through a sustained bear cycle in crypto yet. And so we know this is something that happens in Bitcoin. We've seen it several times play out where it can be just down and out for a year or sometimes several years where it's just not much happening. People are like, oh my gosh, And so we have that, right? Then you have a lot of big companies and funds that have bought into Bitcoin recently, right? And we're going to get to see like, are they going to hold? Are they going to buy the dip? Because if they don't buy the dip, then it looks like they're losing faith, right? And then you have potential situations like MSTR. Michael Saylor's gone very heavy on debt and equity to basically acquire all his Bitcoin. If Bitcoin really went down in a massive way, that could put them at huge financial risk, and they hold more Bitcoin than literally any public company in the world, right? And so if Bitcoin was to really crash, I don't think people quite understand like the implications that could have for MSTR and potentially the entire crypto market, right? And so these are some things to kind of keep in mind here where I think Bitcoin's had a very, very important moment right now and over the next several weeks, if not the next several months, because, if this got really ugly, I mean, we know there's leverage out there in the market, but also I think a lot of these funds and in companies that have been buying in have maybe gone a little too bullish, right? Because they're like, oh, it's going to 100,000, 200,000, 500,000. It's like, well, maybe it goes there over time, but have you ever considered the thought that maybe over the next 2 years it crashes and it goes down to 10,000 or below 10,000 or something like that? And all of a sudden, all these debt payments are due for some of these companies that have taken on massive debts to buy Bitcoin. And all of a sudden, they're in a situation where they're having to liquidate their Bitcoin, put more selling pressure on the market when there's already an immense selling pressure. And you could get into a real, a snowball that's just flowing down the hill very, very rapidly. So anyways, guys, that's what's going on in Bitcoin price. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Smash that like button. Much love and have a great day.